While the others had been out, Sam had returned to his room to take a nap. When Ryan had gone to check on him, it was still light out, and he left him there to cook dinner. Both Liz and Vance fell asleep on the couch. "Wow, breakfast and dinner," Ren said with a smirk. "It gave me something to do." Coming to once they had finished, Vance used a pillow to substitute his shoulder and managed to slip away.
"Way to share, assholes."
"You were busy snuggling your human," Ren said snidely.
"At least I got one, unlike someone I know."
"I don't need some human drooling on me," she snorted.
"Please, you have jealousy written all over you. Miss Liz wants nothing more to do with me. Way to totally lie through your teeth just to make yourself feel better. I bet it really burns, doesn't it?"
"Vance, knock it off," Ryan called from the sink. "I think you're confusing jealousy with disgust and embarrassment," Ren rolled her eyes. "Make sure you guys don't kiss too much. I mean, those teeth of yours, bad for business."
"Pfft, you should talk, neck sucker."
Liz suddenly looked up from the sofa. "Hey, Rorik, where'd you go?" Turning around, Vance arched a brow. "What?"
"You called me Rorik."
"Did I?" She smiled. "We've got to do something about that mess," she said as she pointed towards his hair.
"Excuse me?"
"I'm serious. You have to lose the gel. It looks awful. And that color." His jaw dropped. "I think somebody needs some bleach."
"Hey, Liz, I like you, but not that much."
"Wow, it's like you're married," Ren winked before heading to her room. Laughing to himself, Ryan finished the dishes and joined her in getting some rest. Liz and Vance spoke for a while, although it wasn't until around 5 that Liz noticed a strange panting coming from the other end of the couch. Vance lay bunched in a ball with his face buried in the cushions. "Hey, you're gonna suffocate." Gently reaching over, she caught him by the shoulder, only to draw back with a scream at the sight of his teeth, which were once again spread across his face. Nearly falling over, she had to cover her mouth to keep from waking the entire house. Vance heard the noise and opened his eyes in time to see her disappear into the bathroom. Getting up, his expression returned to normal, and he went to rub his cheek.
"Liz?"
he called groggily as he knocked at the door.
"Hey, Liz, what's going on? Are you okay?"
"I'm fine," she called from within.
"You sure? You don't sound fine. What happened? What's wrong?"
He jiggled the knob a couple of times before realizing she'd locked it.
"Liz, why is this door locked?"
I need a moment. I'll be out in a few." Her strange behavior didn't sit well with him, although instead of pushing, he returned to the sofa and sat down. It was then that he noticed the cushion. The entire front side of it was soaked through in drool. Oh no. Vance realized what must have happened, and it set a pale look across his face. It was about 10 minutes later that the door opened. Stepping into the living room, Liz hurried past him without offering any kind of explanation, and he quickly started after her.
"Hey, are you okay?"
She gave a faint nod, though recoiled when he tried to take her hand. "I'm fine. I think I'm gonna go home." Her words struck him hard.
"Really? Why?"
Her eyes were pinned to the floor. "I'm not sure I can do this. I thought I could, but I forgot."
"You forgot?"
Vance arched a brow.
"What do you mean you forgot?"
"I'm sorry. I just got caught up in the moment." Swallowing hard, he tried to keep his composure.
"So that's it then? Just like that? You're gonna walk away from me? Again?"
Liz kept her eyes on the floor.
"You're not even gonna look at me?"
No response.
"So all you said yesterday, I'm to assume that meant nothing?"
"No, that's not it.
You just what? Have I ever tried to hurt you?"
Once again, she said nothing.
"Is appearance the only thing you care about?"
"No, of course not. I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me. I'm not sure I can deal with it."
"You can't deal with it? That's your response? Do you know how many people I've lost because they couldn't deal with it? My entire family, my own father, they couldn't deal with it. They took one look at me and threw me away like a used paper cup. It didn't matter that I might actually have feelings. You don't take that into consideration any more than the rest of them. You just look at me and all you see is teeth."
Vance turned in a rage.
"Get out, and do us both a favor. Don't come back."
The thought of being rejected not once but twice by someone he actually believed could care for him was too much. Going for the kitchen sink, he knelt down to pull open the cupboard and came up with a bottle of liquid Drano.
"They want to play games with me? Okay then, game over."
Ren froze in the doorway with a stifled yell as she saw Vance drinking the cleaner. "What are you doing?" she screamed. Providing an offset look, it slipped from his hands and he hit the floor. Ryan bolted out of bed the moment he heard Rain scream. Rushing frantically downstairs, he stopped near the door. "Oh my God, what happened?" "He's trying to kill himself." Rain had caught him as he fell. It hadn't been the first time she'd seen someone commit suicide, and needless to say, it was one of the things that haunted her. Her mother had done exactly the same thing. Sleeping pills and alcohol would have been too easy a death. She had laughed at Rain before vomiting chunks of her own stomach. It was messy, and she'd done it intentionally out of spite. Staggering to his knees, Ryan noticed the Drano, and his expression grew as pale as Vance's. "He drank that?" he asked, bringing both hands to his face. "Rain, if he dies, he'll take Soren with him." "Not on my watch. Stand back." Drawing her pocket knife, she went to slit her wrist. Vampire blood had healing properties, and while she hated Vance for his spiteful maneuver, she knew she couldn't lose Soren. Ryan pulled away as Vance coughed up a mixture of flesh, blood, and Drano. Slipping from consciousness, he collapsed, although his body did react to Rain's blood, sharpening his nails and manifesting a pair of lengthy antennae. "God damn it," she swore. "I can't deal with this." Leaving her as she waited outside, Ryan began to tend to Vance. Running the shower head, he uncorked the tub and tossed him in, hoping the water would wash him off, if not bring him to. Rain couldn't have helped even if she'd wanted to. Too close, she shook her head, ashing her cigarette against the steps. No matter how old she got, suicide was always going to be a touchy subject. Saving Vance wasn't going to change the past, she thought grimly, but knowing she had perhaps saved Soren seemed to bring her some measure of peace. It took about 30 minutes for Ryan to mop the floor. Vance was still out, and before he went to speak with Rain, he turned off the water and threw a towel over him. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine." Her voice was tight. "How's he doing?" "He's alive. I don't know why he did that. Everything was fine last night. I never would have pegged him for suicide. Maybe spite, but why now?" Tensing at the thought, her eye twitched. It could have had something to do with Liz. That was an odd goings-on. I think maybe that girl was in over her head. It's a human thing. She ran away when she realized her demon boyfriend wasn't just a bad boy with gelled hair. He's got the teeth to back it up. "You're probably right." Ryan went to lean against the porch rail. "Teenage affection is a joke, and a sick one at that, especially when it comes to high school girls. No offense. Vance is a fool. Even I'm not that naive. You have a support system. The only person who ever saw anything in Vance was that girl, and you saw how fast she just ran out of this house." Rain brushed his words away. "You don't know anything about me or what I've done. It's not fair. She betrayed him. Let her go, Rain. She's not worth it. No one's worth it." Choosing not to respond, Ryan walked back to the kitchen to start breakfast. Peering briefly into the bathroom, he noticed Vance was still lying in the tub. Though he had apparently come to, the vacant expression he held said enough for his coherency, and he remained there without the slightest hint of acknowledgement. Going to check on him herself, Rain sat down. "Why'd you do it?" she asked, hands resting across her knees. A moment passed before his gaze slid in her direction. Staring at her without an ounce of expression, his eyes were dim and glazed. "Vance, did you do it out of spite?" She didn't get a response, at least not a verbal one. Although even though he was soaking wet, it was clear that the lines running down his face had not come from the shower. Rain felt helplessly awkward, and Vance shied back as she tried to touch him. "You don't scare me," she scoffed, despite how much his teeth resembled needles. "Come on, it's not worth it. Whatever she did to you, forget about it." "Hey, Rain, breakfast's ready." Ryan knocked across the door. He made pancakes and French toast. "Is he okay in there?" he asked as she followed him out. "He's ready to drown himself. He won't even talk. It's like a sign of the apocalypse." "You want him to talk? Let him be. It's better he doesn't say anything." "Are all boys like this when girls break their hearts?" "Most of us don't try to kill ourselves. I think it's more of an attention thing with him. That's his only motivation. Any attention is good attention when it comes to Vancelin. I have a hard time believing that, considering what he just did. Liz is the monster here." Ryan shrugged. "It was uncouth, but it's probably better she left. And as far as he goes, what's a broken heart when you still have hell to look forward to?" "I thought love conquered all," Rain asked sarcastically. "This isn't some sappy fiction novel. Besides, even in fiction, love doesn't always win out. Vance doesn't know what love is. I don't think a lot of people do. She was just some girl who showed him compassion, and like the parasite that he is, he latched onto her. He did what anyone in his position would have done, and his reaction was predictable. Give someone something they'd never had, and then take it away. Now do it twice over. It's no wonder he drank that stuff. She deserves to die. She's a little girl, Rain. She doesn't know any better. That's a horrible thing to say. She wasn't a little girl when she was preaching how much she loved him. If she ever shows up again, I'm gonna break her face. Life isn't fair sometimes, but that's the way it plays out. Vance has done enough damage to deserve a little back in his favor. Karma always comes around, and now it's his turn. Do I think it'll change him? No. I think he'll be a miserable, resentful little monster until the day he dies. We need to get Soren back." "I know," Ryan nodded as he cleaned his plate in the sink. "This kind of puts a wrench in the machine, though. I can't leave Vancelin here, and if we go to Cypress Town, I'm going to need both you and Sam to back me up. Vance is not in any condition to fight either, and unless you know of someone who's interested in babysitting a soul eater, can't you just leave him in Zero Realm?" "I suppose. But God forbid Kinvera manages to get a hold of me, he'd get the amulet too." "We could bury it somewhere. That might be a good idea, after we rescue Soren. If we bury it and lose it, he'll die in there, and then it won't make a difference. I can't dispose of it until I know my cousin's life isn't at risk. Once he's safe, I don't care what happens to Vance, but until that point, it'll have to stay with me. Kinvera has Soren. If we bring Vance, then what's the difference? The difference is that if we bring him and Kinvera gets a hold of him, that's that much more power he can exploit from us. He already has Soren, and probably Christy too. But we're not what he wants. What he wants are our weapons. Individually, they're powerful, but together, one man cannot wield that kind of power, especially a man with dark intentions. The Trinity Blade is the single most dangerous thing I know of. Couple that with Vanceland's Grimdark and forget it. Game over. Big time. Then what do? Set him free? We can't. I need him to fix what he did to my cousin. Then he can die in that realm for all I care. You don't need to keep throwing any more negativity into this disaster, Ren said flatly. I don't think you truly understand the gravity of this situation. I'm sorry, I'm just sick of sitting here doing nothing. If you want to do something, go wake up Sam. Letting the matter drop, Rain did as he proposed and wandered upstairs. Thankfully, the door was unlocked. A gentle stream of sunlight wafted in, casting bright golden lines across the bed where Sam lay sound asleep. Wake up, Rain walked over to nudge him. We have planning to do. Oddly enough, he didn't stir. Sam? Pulling off his hat, she touched his face. His skin was pale and iced, causing her to take a step back. Ryan, she yelled. Sam's dead. What's going on now? He groaned as he pushed open the door. He's dead. Sam's dead, Ryan. What the fuck are we gonna do? Calm down. Walking to the bedside, he leaned in and shook him by the shoulders. When he received no response, he went for his pulse, and upon realizing he had none, took his thumb and spread back one of Sam's eyelids. Peering out at him, his eyes were glazed and hazy. However, the moment the sunlight hit them, their pupils dilated, and Ryan nearly fell over as the boy reached up to smack him away. What the fuck are you doing, asshole? I hate you so much. Ren let out a deep breath, face restoring color. You don't have a pulse, she screeched. If I didn't have a pulse, I wouldn't be talking. Take it yourself, then. Rolling his eyes, which were still frighteningly white, Sam shook his head. What do I look like, a doctor? I don't know how to measure that shit. But if I'm talking to you, then clearly I have to have one. Rain turned toward Ryan again. Just tell me when we're leaving, okay? Soon. I have to put Vance back in his box. Hey man, give me a second. I want to talk to that little shit before you void him. What for? Don't worry about it. Just go get your stuff together. I'll be out in a minute. Not bothering to wait for an objection, which he was clearly going to get, Sam pushed open the bathroom door and walked toward Vance, who was still curled up in the tub. Caring little as to why, the only thing he was interested in was payback. Slamming the door, he purposely latched it shut. I'll open it when I feel justice has been served, he snickered, pulling out a pack of matches and striking one up along his jeans. Hey, remember me? When Vance didn't respond, Sam grabbed one of his antennae. No? Well, maybe you'll remember this. Holding it up to the flame, his eyes shot open, claws scraping frantically against the porcelain while Sam enjoyed the results, not to mention the black ooze that began to leak out from the burning wound he'd created. Not so pleasant now, is it, shithead? What's going on? Rain asked as she made her way downstairs to find Ryan pounding across the bathroom door. He won't open it. Move. Slamming her hand to the lock, it fell clean off and the door flew back. Upon seeing what Sam was doing, she looked disgusted. Rain had never liked bullies, and while Vance had done the same to him, she didn't approve of the cycle. Grabbing him by the arm, she shoved Sam away. Fucking loser, I hope you drown in that bathtub, he hissed as he stormed out. Ryan, get me some bandages, Ren yelled while the water began to wash away the blood. Clinging to the side of the tub, Vance closed his eyes and shook. It's okay, she tried to sound calm. I'm just gonna wrap it. He didn't respond, but he didn't fight her either. Thankfully, the water was warm enough that even though they were both covered in it, it wasn't uncomfortable. Ryan, you better get that little fuck out of my sight before I shove him into a tanning bed. With a slight nod, he turned to deal with Sam, who had wandered into the kitchen for food. Vance, on the other hand, lay still. Turning off the water, Rain grabbed a towel. Come on, get up. You can take my room, she said as she realized she'd probably have to carry him. He remained in every sense of the word someone who had given up. Sopping wet, he looked the part, clothes in shambles, hair a mess of gel and water that clumped to every inch of his face. For once, Rain actually did feel sorry. If he was acting, he deserved an Oscar, she thought grimly as she pulled him up the stairs. Laying him in bed with a groan, she sat beside him and began to dry him off. Vance, help me out here. Pull yourself together. She hated seeing people like this, even if they were people she didn't particularly like. If I bring you new clothes, will you feel better? He remained silent, though about half a minute later, one eye slid toward her. You can have my pillow, she glanced back. Do you want anything? His expression softened, and he finally spoke. Why? It wasn't much of a word, but it said enough. I feel bad, she admitted, eyes a deep gray. You've had it pretty rough the past 24 hours. I'm cutting you some slack.
You were right,
he sighed. Doesn't mean I want to be. I'm sorry. Staring at him as he apologized, Rain nodded despite being surprised. It's okay. He shook his head.
No, it's not.
I accept your apology, Vance. It is what it is.
You believe in karma?
I'm starting to. He scoffed, though it sounded more like a staggered wheeze.
Some people just seem to be completely immune. It's not fair.
I don't think it works fast enough.
She left me twice, Rain. Twice. The things she said, they meant nothing. Would almost have been better if she hadn't said anything at all. I don't know what I did wrong.
She's an idiot, Vance. She didn't do anything wrong.
Demons don't get happy endings. If there's a hell out there, that's what I have to look forward to. I bought a one-way ticket just for being alive.
Don't beat yourself up over it. Just get some sleep. You'll feel better.
Won't make a difference,
he sighed.
Never did.
Offering no further response, he closed his eyes and laid there in silence. Back downstairs, Ryan kept his distance from Sam, watching uneasily as he tore through the meat keeper like a fiend. Eventually edging away, he skidded from the kitchen towards Rain's room. You done up here? We should get going. And for the record, please don't leave me alone with Sam anymore. That kid gets weirder every day. I don't want to be near that sadist, Rain muttered. What are we going to do with the two of them? Sam might go off and kill someone, and Vance might hurt himself. I'm putting Vance back where he belongs. As far as Sam goes, if we can set him loose on Convero, we might have the upper hand, and that's what I'm booking on. As for Vance, he kinda deserved it. Rain looked annoyed. He just tried to kill himself, and Sam chose that moment to attack him? That's fucked up, even for me. He was busy being dead, Rain. He kinda missed that whole ordeal. And speaking of which, you know anything about zombies? Zombies? She rubbed her face. Is that why Blondie doesn't have a pulse? You tell me. He's downstairs stuffing his face with raw meat from the freezer. I'm not an avid Romero fan, but I've seen Night of the Living Dead. If he decides one of us looks like a mid-morning snack, he'll have his neck broken, she answered. I sleep with the door locked. Yeah. Anyway, why don't you go wait downstairs with Sunshine while I take care of him? No, Rain answered flatly. We don't get along. Ryan shrugged and walked up to Vance while summoning his blade. He regarded him tragically, though the boy didn't seem to care. Just let him sleep, Ryan. How are we supposed to move Sam anyway if he might eat the bus driver? Who says we need to take a bus? I can get us there the same way I got us here, Ryan reminded her as a void of black energy opened beside Vance and he went to nudge him through. Cut him some slack. Slack? Rain, I don't have time for slack. Look, I know you want to believe this whole misery sob story he's playing, but this is how he operates. He'll be miserable for a couple of days until someone takes enough pity on him to bring him something to eat. Then he'll go right back to being an asshole. I understand you feel bad for him, but there's a limit. And you called me cruel? You weren't there, Rain. If you were, Ryan approached the door, you would not be saying that. Look, I know he killed your father, but he's also half of your cousin right now. He's not my cousin at all. Ryan's tone darkened. Vance did kill my father, and then he came for us. Instead of slaughtering us like the rest of the rabble, he thought it would be a good idea to scatter us to the realms of Dementia so we could watch while he laid them to waste. He destroyed almost 13 of the known 33. He killed and brutally murdered hundreds of denizens, enslaved races, and nearly took over everything there ever was. My friends and I put a stop to that, and at no meager price. What he did is unforgivable. Now, I'm sorry if perhaps he managed to find someone to care about, but one good deed is not enough to redeem someone of a lifetime of pain and destruction. Shaking her head, Rain let it go. Let's just leave. Finally, something we agree on. We're going, she snapped at Sam as they came downstairs. Tossing a chewed-up T-bone into the trash, he ran his hands along his jeans. Where to? Cypress Town. Ryan went to summon a portal. I'm gonna bring us in from the outskirts. We'll have to walk to town and get a hotel. With whose money? I don't know about you two clowns, but I'm broke. I have money. Rain had filled her bag with Vance's. But you two are sharing a bed because I'm not paying for a giant suite. I'll take the floor, they both said in unison. You can take the bed, Sam. I think I'll purchase my own room. Aw, what's wrong? Do I scare you? You want my honest answer? Yes. I'm not sleeping in the same room as him, Rain said flatly. Ugh, then I'll shell out the money and he can get his own room. Now come on, we're wasting time. Oh yeah, as if we haven't been hanging around here wasting a shitload more time these past 2 days. Sam went to walk through the light which parted ways to reveal the darkening skies of a cityscape beyond which snow-capped mountains dotted the horizon. A single road drew into a sweeping valley below, the only means of entrance to a town many had claimed was forgotten. Dreading the thought of staying with Sam, Rain hurried through the portal. We have to walk down that? She asked nervously. I could push you, and you could just kind of roll if you want, Sam snickered. Or I could use you as a sledge, she said angrily as they trudged into town. Despite being called a town, Cyprus was actually more of a city. Having been industrialized a few years back, it resembled a miniature version of Manhattan, or at least it would have, had it been completely finished. Many of the large structural buildings were only skeletons, whispers of what they would someday become. Wait a second. Sam stopped as they neared the road. I know this place. This is the place they had that huge government cover-up a few years back. Government cover-up? Ryan asked. This scientist guy got acquitted or something? I don't know anything about a scientist guy, Sam said. What I heard was about a couple of college-age kids. They got lost up in the mountains around here and found something weird. Government got involved. It was all over the news. Something weird? Like what, aliens? Aliens don't exist. You know, I said the same thing, except I wasn't talking about no aliens. We all know how that one turned out. Please, you were all about the supernatural like some geeky fanboy. That was before I wound up a part of it, he muttered. Vance is one thing. Sure, he's creepy and all, but there is nothing out there that can describe the Barbary I have seen. You think that little creep is scary? You try running for your life through miles and miles of uncharted woods from something you can't even see. Then you can tell me what fear is. I'm familiar with the emotion, thanks. Rolling his eyes, Sam left well enough alone and hung back as they came upon the city. Look for someplace cheap, guys. I've got cash, but not as much as I'd like. I'll get you your own room, Sam, but you have to promise me you'll keep it under control. Hey, for the 1000th time, it didn't come with an instruction manual. I don't know any more about this than you do. To be perfectly honest, I'm not even entirely sure I'm still alive. We can all share a room, Rin sighed. There's no way we're going to be able to watch him otherwise. How do you guys feel about sleeping with the lights on? Ryan was dead serious. Ha! Sam threw up his hands. If this shit keeps going, I'm going to invest in a searchlight, dude, I swear. I'm not sleeping with him. Rain drew the line at sleeping next to a zombie. I'll take a chair. Not like I need the rest anyway. Shoving her hands in her pockets, she said nothing until they reached town. There's a Motel 6 down the street. Lovely, Sam muttered. Just where I always wanted to spend the night, the Roach Motel. Well, hey, at least you'll fit right in. All we gotta do is get you a rocking chair and a wig and it could be the Bates. Sam wasn't amused by Ryan's attempt to lighten the mood. Rolling her eyes, Rain walked in and pulled out a small wad of bills. The woman at the register accepted the payment, though not before suggesting that the local hospital was down the road. That's okay, I just came from the morgue. Dropping his face to his palm, Ryan shook his head and thought fast. Halloween party. Wild costumes this year, huh? The woman was still staring. It's a little early for Halloween. Yeah, well, some people never grow up. You know how it is. He gave a nervous chuckle and motioned toward the elevator while the look Rain gave Sam was promising of a swift kick to the head. What? Come on! Do you know how many drooling morons would have a flip-shit fucking field day over me right now? A coherent zombie. I'm every basement nerd's dream. More like Romero's muse. You're just a pain in the ass for us, however. Oh, poor baby, he shot back. Yo, we should totally order a pizza. I thought you said you were dead. What do you want a pizza for? Dude, it's pizza. Ask me that again. You order it, Ryan. I'll pick it up. I'm hungry for other things. Like necks? Sam stepped into the room and plopped down on the bed. Hey, get off. Screw you, man. You suck. Oh, wait, my mistake. That's her. Rolling his eyes, Ryan went to call for 3 pizzas. You guys want any special toppings? Meat. Yeah, I'll get you a side order of brains, too. Fuck you. Shut up, Sam. You're gonna die a virgin, you little bastard. I'll be back later, tearing someone's throat out and wishing it was you. Shaking his head, Sam went about his business, falling asleep in a chair while Ryan's eyes began to grow heavy, and despite his mind's objection, he found that before he was able to protest, he'd slept into a deep, clouded sleep.